Okay, this next portion of the sew along includes the neckband. So grab your neckband piece, and what you're going to do is fold your neckband in half lengthwise with the right sides together. And now we're going to pin the short side here. This is what's going to make the turtleneck or the sweater cape. Now, this is also going to be boring sewing / serging, so I'm not going to show it, but you're just going to stitch up this seam at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. So go ahead and do that now, okay? So I've just formed a circle, which is great, a little tube. Now we're gonna fold the neckband in half lengthwise with the wrong sides together. So this should start to look like a turtleneck, because that's exactly what it is. Can you guess what's coming next? Quarter points! Did you guess? If you guessed, did you guess right? Okay, anyway, just thought that would be kind of fun. So grab your clips or pins, and now we're going to mark the quarter points again with the process we used before. So we know this is one of our quarter points, this seam. So if you want to, you can clip that just to mark it. And then pull it so that it is laying flat with the seam there. And you'll know the direct opposite side from that seam is the other quarter point. Now let's move these two quarter points together. And now over here and over here are our other two quarter points. Now, you guys know the drill. You know what comes next. We're going to find the quarter points of the neck opening. So let's set that over there for a second. Grab our main cape. So at this exact moment, I do want to note that not always can you rely on the side seams to be the quarter points of something. In this particular case, with necklines and things like that, they are not always, the side seams are not always the quarter points, especially when you have a front hem that's slightly lower than the back hem. And that's what we have here. So we need to mark the quarter points. The easiest way to do that, I think, is to take the back pieces first. So the back of your cape, and kind of align it to the other side, and then you'll be able to find your quarter point there, which is dead center back. That's one of your points. Then now you're going to, with the pieces aligned here, the front piece aligned where you cut on the fold, that's going to be your other dead center. Okay, now once you found those two, let's open it up, and we're gonna scooch it up a little bit here. Okay, so keep those aligned, and now wherever it pulls out to be, that is actually the quarter point, not the side seam. So it's actually over about 1 inch off of the shoulder seam for this particular one. So do the same for the other side. And on this side, it's actually, yeah, it's about 1 inch off as well. Should have been, but okay. So now you've got your quarter points, and you've got your turtleneck quarter points. So you know what's going to happen next. We are going to turn the sweater cape to the wrong side. So let's just flip this open here. So we got a big hole in the table. Okay, grab your turtleneck, and we're going to, with our right sides together, align all of the quarter points. Now, the one that has the seam, that quarter point, is the one that I like to use as my center back seam. I like to have that seam in the center back. So my center back seam note or quarter point here is the pink one, is the pink clip. So I'm going to attach that here. Clip these two together at the center back, and then continue clipping at these quarter seams. Continue clipping at these quarter seams. Continue clipping at this last quarter seam. Or I don't know why I'm calling them seams, but quarter point, you know what I mean. And now the rest of the way, let's just clip for good measure for keeping everything in place. You get a clip and you get a clip and everybody gets a clip. That's just to make sure everything stays aligned for us when we go to sew this. And I bet you can guess what is going to happen after we've clipped everything. Any guesses? Okay, I hear you. And you're right, we're going to sew this. Sew around these areas that we've just clipped, or serge it at, guess what, seam allowance? Did somebody say 3/8 inch? Yes, that's what I heard. That is what I heard. So let's go ahead and do that now, and then we'll come back. We are almost done with this amazing cape. You're gonna be able to wear it today. Okay, and we're back at the serger to attach our neckband to the neck line of our sweater cape. You can always go much slower than I am going if serging quickly scares you. Okay, so I've just finished my neck band and I have a lovely turtleneck. What I'm going to do now though is, because I did the sleeve option, I need to attach the optional cuff sleeve. So if you aren't doing the sleeve, you don't need to do this part. You can skip it, go ahead to the next step, which is adding the buttons. If you're doing buttons, if you're not doing buttons, then guess what? You've just finished this sew along. So you can cut me off, stop watching if you don't want buttons and you don't want sleeve cuffs. But if you do want buttons and you want sleeve cuffs, keep watching. Okay, so I got my sleeve. I'm just gonna set that out of the way here. But I've got my cuffs. Okay, so we need to fold the cuff in half widthwise. And we're going to put the right sides together, and we're going to match the short edges, and we're going to feed these right through our serger. Once we've done that, we're gonna fold that in half. We're gonna do quarter points, and then we're going to be done. So let's go do this at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. So I've just serged both of these edges, and now I need to fold my cuff in half with the wrong sides together. I need to find my quarter points on both the sleeve cuff and the sleeve itself. So what did we do before we found the quarter points off of the seam? So let's do that again. Okay, and then we're gonna find the quarter points of the actual sleeve itself now. So repeat that process. You're going to be a pro at finding quarter points, or you should be by the end of this sweater cape, because we found so many of them. And now, with the rights together, let's attach the sleeve and the sleeve cuff. We're going to clip them all together with all the raw edges aligned. Whoops, I think I just stole that clip from the quarter point. Whoopsie daisies. Let's just fill in any gaps we have or need. Okay, and repeat that process for the other sleeve cuff. And then we're going to stitch around this at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. And here we are with the sleeve cuff. So this is going to get a little bit close here. The serging might be a little more challenging than serging you've done before, or stitching, because it's a sleeve cuff. So just make sure nothing is stuck or jumbled underneath as you're going around in this tiny little circle. Okay, and this is definitely one of those moments where you just want to check your serging or your sewing to make sure you didn't leave any weird holes between the sleeve cuff and the sleeve. And if you've poked your finger around the sleeve and you don't find anything weird, then congratulations, you don't have to re-stitch anything. You should be good to go. Repeat this for the other side now. Okay, so we've come to the end of this sew along video, and everything is finished except if you are doing the optional button closure. So what you need to do is just pull your sides together. So align your side hem bands so that they're all aligned. And what you may decide that you want to do is grab a measuring tape or a ruler, and what you're gonna do is measure the length of the hemband. So mine is 23 when it's folded, and you're going to find the midpoint of this hemband, and so the midpoint of 23 is like 12 and a half, like 11 and a half, okay? And that is where you would stick your button if you're going to do the button option. And what is recommended is that you stitch it straight through to the other side. That kind of gives it like a nice little tack so that it doesn't blow open on you. Or if you prefer it to just be decorative, you can stitch a button on this side. You can stitch a button on the other side. So there's 4 total buttons. Or, stitch it straight through, and that will kind of help keep your sweater cape closed if you want to do that option. If not, then you are absolutely done and you can enjoy wearing your sweater cape. Thank you so much for tuning into this sweater cape sew along. I hope you had a wonderful time as we made this beautiful sweater cape with sleeves. right there on my serger. So I hope that you are no longer afraid of knits, sewing with knits, I should say, and that now you'll try out our full pattern range. We have tons of fun knit clothing patterns. So once you've conquered one knit pattern, you should be able to sew anything. So thank you again for tuning in, and we'd love to see what you've made up in the RP Sew Alongs group on Facebook. It's always so much fun to just see what all you've made, see what fabrics you guys have used, and answer any questions that you might have from this sew along. So be sure to check out the RP Sew Alongs group and shoot us a message there where we can take a look at what you've made and just join that wonderful sewing community. So thank you again, and don't forget to join us on our next sew along.